My name is Grace, and I'm your 2019 official Oregon Lucia. Scandinavian tradition holds that in Sweden, a white-clad maiden wearing a crown of burning candles and a red sash brought food to starving villagers on the shore of a lake. On the morning of December 13th, the strains of St. Lucia are heard everywhere as a white-robed maiden comes out of the night with her burning crown of candles to dispel the darkness, bringing bright light to the Christmas season. While it was originally a Swedish tradition, it has since spread to many other Scandinavian countries. Lucia morning is celebrated in nearly every Scandinavian home, office, church, and other large public events. Traditionally, she brings coffee and saffron rolls. She is generally accompanied by a full Lucia Court. Honoring the tradition, serving the community, and supporting women's education, the spirit of Lucia is alive at Nordic Northwest.
Thank you so much, Grace. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here today and watching online. I'm Sarah Winter, a past Lucia Court member and chair of Nordic Northwest's official Oregon Lucia program. The Scandinavian community in Portland has taken great pride in preserving the Lucia tradition since 1956. In the 70s, Governor Tom McCall proclaimed our Lucia the official Lucia of Oregon. We are thrilled this year to bring you Oregon's 65th official Lucia Court. What an amazing milestone. The program puts young women with the interest in Nordic heritage in touch with this beloved legend of Scandinavia, while offering them the opportunity to serve and represent our community, while also receiving educational scholarships. A big thank you to our community members that have donated to these scholarships. The 2021 Lucia Court has been pre-selected and consists of 5 amazing young women. Today, in front of you and our panel of judges, each court member will introduce themselves, give a 2 to 4 minute speech about their passion for Nordic culture, tradition, and heritage. Our judges will then select one of these young women to be crowned our official Oregon Lucia. Typically crowned each year at ScanFair, this year it will be streamed from the historical Fogelbo residence. Make sure to tune in on December 4th to see who is crowned. Lucia and her court members appear at various events throughout this holiday season and year. Our panel of judges consists of 2 Nordic community members, Dave Alfred, a leader in our community and former Scandinavian of the Year, Jesse Kinner, a leader in our Nordic community, 2 Nordic Northwest board members, Joanna Kane and Stephen England, and a former Lucia Court member, Ava Basile, our 2018 Lucia. The panel has the hardest job of all, picking one of these lucky ladies to wear the crown of candles. This decision will be made based on their enthusiasm for Nordic culture, heritage, and tradition, and their heart for community. It is now my great honor to hand over the microphone to our 2021 Lucia Court.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aberdeen Stewart, and you're probably thinking that name sounds very Scottish and not at all Nordic. I was named after the city in Scotland where my dad went to school, but I identify more with the culture and food from my mother's Norwegian and Swedish heritage. At my house, we embrace the Scandinavian and Nordic countries. Some Swedish paintings on the walls, Norwegian hardanger on display, Finnish Moomin tableware, Danish appelskivers for breakfast, and giving books on Christmas, like in Iceland. Lucia Day is not only a holiday we celebrate each year, sharing good food and songs with our neighbors, but also a symbol of light during especially dark times. After missing it last year, it's clear that the Lucia Court and what it symbolizes is more important than ever in our Nordic community. Having been in the Vasa youth folk dance group since I could walk, I'm familiar with learning cultural traditions and sharing them with others. I've participated in festivals with dancing, talent shows with my sisters, and sharing what I've learned with my friends at school. I enjoy wearing my mother's bunad on 7 Mai and explaining its meaning to my friends at school, as both my mom's wedding dress and the region where her family was from in Norway. In high school, I enjoyed wearing my Lucia gown and singing the song at a cultural assembly. I brought the light and hope during the dark of winter as a symbol of our community. I'm in a building construction management program at PCC, and often reference Nordic design and approaches to building in my schoolwork. Even in a competition with high schoolers last year to design a homeless shelter, I researched and found examples in Finland to inspire both form and function. There's a lot we can learn from modern and traditional aspects of the Nordic community. What our families did generations ago as we pass through the family tree. Stories and mementos of our ancestors. While the first of my family may have wanted to be totally American after moving here, I like to be both American and Swedish/Norwegian. Trying our hardest to do things as they've been done for centuries, while also acknowledging the new context. Like, I'm so grateful that we have electrical candles for the Lucia crown I wear at home. My passion is best expressed in my continued involvement in both within and outside the community. The leader of the Vasa youth group needed dancers at Midsummer this year, and I jumped at the chance to participate. After not meeting for months, I used my muscle memory to perform the dances and sing along. Some people had never danced around the Midsummer pole, but with our help, everyone had a great time. In 2019, I really enjoyed being a court member and becoming an ambassador to our community. Working with the other members and getting to know them was a joy. We went to such a variety of cultural events I never experienced before, and I learned about traditions not practiced within my family. The many outreach opportunities we have this year really excite me as we return to sharing our Nordic heritage with the community. Thank you.
Hej, jag heter Cecilia Bromander och jag studerar Business Administration på Oregon State University. Hi, my name is Cecilia Bromander, and I'm studying Business Administration at Oregon State University. 2 years ago, I applied for the Lucia Court, and I was accepted into the program. I had little to no idea what I was getting myself into or who I would meet along the way. I stood here in the same room, in the same outfit, with the same, if not less, jitters that I have now. During my speech, I talked about growing up in a community in the United States with a family that was determined to conserve their Swedish roots. About how my 3 older siblings and I were only allowed to speak Swedish to one another, and how during the holiday season, we celebrated in the time-honored Swedish way, with our home-baked goods and meals, and of course, the Lucia tradition. But I also talked about how my school was completely American. English reading, English writing, English speaking. My main point that year was that I thought that choosing between these two very different situations had been a struggle, when in reality it had been an experience that had given me strength. These two unique cultures together are what make me the person that I am today. When I gave that speech, I didn't know many people who had a similar situation to my own. I didn't know many Nordic people here in Oregon in general. Thankfully, this Lucia program helped me find more young individuals like myself who also had strong Scandinavian influences in their life. Even though the Lucia Court was full of a very diverse group of girls, none of us really had the same club interests, none of us really played the same sports or went to the same schools. But the one thing that brought all of us together was was our heritage. And obviously at first, it was a little bit awkward. Nobody really knew each other, and everyone was a little bit uncomfortable. But after each event, we bonded further and further. We bonded about how freezing cold it was when we had to change in yet another random bathroom before an event. We bonded when we had to go to Chipotle in our stylish, matching Lucia gowns. And we bonded when we made crafts with more crafts with kids at ScanFair than we ourselves had done in the past 5 years. Those other 4 strangers turned out to be 4 marvelous, inspiring Nordic women who I was proud to have by my side. For the first time, I felt like I had found my Swedish place in America. The reason I want to be Lucia is because I want to be a part of this wonderful experience yet again. I hope to both inspire and be inspired by the wonderful people in this program and further connect with the Nordic community around me. I hope to light the way for others as Nordic Northwest has done for me. Tack så mycket.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie Meyer. I'm 17 years old and I'm a junior at Tigard High School. Ever since I was little, my parents have been incorporating our Norwegian heritage into our lives. My parents signed my sister and I up for Camp Nidaros at 8 years old, a year earlier than most of the other campers. Camp Nidaros is a Norwegian language camp in Seaside. Going to a language camp is something that my mom wanted to pass down to me and my sister since it was something that she did when she was our age. I continued going to camp each summer until I was about 12 or 13. In those years at camp, I learned a lot about my culture. I got to experience lots of traditions and learned about the Norwegian history, recreation, food, and also some language. At camp, we played a game called Cube, and as I got older, I grew to love it. So my mom, as any other mom would do, cut and stained her own blocks, mallets, and stakes, so make our own set. Now it is a game that all of our family friends know, and it's a big hit at any of our outdoor parties. Along with camp, I regularly attended the Grieg Lodge Sons of Norway. There I joined the Lake Oregon program where I learned many Scandinavian dances. Went on Viking Adventures, which was a youth group in our lodge focused on giving children the experience of traditional Norwegian activities, like curling, jewelry making, baking, and other crafts. I also learned lots of Scandinavian songs and much more. When I got a little older, I was allowed to co-lead some Viking Adventures activities, and I remember preparing for my first one on leather bracelet making. I was probably 11, and I had done a bunch of research and typed out some bullet points onto a piece of paper and proudly read it out to the group. It always made me feel so proud to know information about where the craft came from and why we were making them. I got this proud feeling every time I did something that showed other people something special about my heritage, from things like multicultural night at my elementary school, when I got to dress up in the beautiful bunad that my grandmother had made for me, and show everyone the kransenkake that my mom had made the night before. Or the set of my parade, where my friends and I got to carry a float that our lodge had built together, as well as our family tradition to make lefse every year during the holidays. When I was writing the speech, I had many memories that I could have written about and go on and on about them, without ever specifically explaining where my true passion lies with my heritage. But I believe that it lies all over. I'm a product of my culture, and it has shaped my family, enhanced my intelligence, and showed me diversity at a young age. I'm so thankful to have had such a strong presence of culture growing up, because it has made me who I am today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm an economics major at Portland State University. So speeches are a little scary, at least for me. A lot weighs on what you say. In this case, it proves the amount of experience and personal value you have for an age-old tradition. But also this speech will influence whether I and we can continue studying the socioeconomic Nordic approach, and that's benefited billions of people, which is directly established from Nordic culture, tradition, and social values. And the way this approach drastically differs from other regions, the United States, is fascinating. Take this building, for example. It has a green roof. There's a 75% reduction in how hot a green roof building gets in the summer, and a 25% reduction in how cold a green roof building gets in the winter. It also reduces flooding, which is great for Portland. And in Copenhagen in 2010, it was one of the first places to require a green roof in almost all of its buildings. So Denmark is leading the way in environment public policy. So why does this matter? Well, lower income classes greatly benefit from this because this demographic often struggles to afford energy heating bills and don't have access to air conditioning because it's too expensive. However, there's an initial cost to having a green roof, and this is a cost that U.S. infrastructure companies aren't often willing to pay, even though the investment would be cheaper in the long run because of the savings in energy costs. This is an example of how Scandinavia puts its people, especially those in need, and the environment as its top priority. This is part of what I research in the nonprofit supportive housing works. This is how I implement Nordic culture into my life in the pursuit of hoping to improve other people's lives. And from what I understand, Scandinavia does the same. It became such an influential powerhouse through making education accessible starting in the late 1800s, while other places reserved the best education only for the upper class. This mindset and understanding that people have innate talents and abilities is extremely admirable. It's the same mindset that Lucia had when she fought for what she believed in and helped other people when they needed it. the trust in society and humanity she had is really motivating and pushes me to continue what I'm doing. To me, having Nordic heritage is more about your experiences and appreciation as well as contribution to the culture and people. For instance, Queen Sylvia of Sweden is, I would say pretty Scandinavian, even though she's half Brazilian like myself. I'm a Brazilian American. And I just hope that either through my homemade lingonberry jam or through my academic research in Scandinavian studies, I can bring hope and light to those in need of a bit of help in dark times.
Good dog. My name is Julia Kyer, and I am a senior in high school at Catlin Gable. I've started reading in Norwegian lately. I've spoken Norwegian my whole life. I've understood it, but I realized I'd never picked up a book in the language. There's something so comforting about it. I'm a child again, learning to read, sounding out each letter, but I'm a child in this other language, this other culture that I didn't get to fully grow up in Portland, this language that feels so warm and so natural, like home. I think the biggest thing my dual Nordic identity has given me is a feeling of freedom, being unbounded by borders and ways of thinking. It's a trait I know I will take with me my whole life. My burgundy red second passport has allowed me to not only come and go as I please, but gain an integral and grounded connection to Norway. The time I have spent there has been time with family, time with friends, international friends, time exploring, time learning to speak not only with Norwegian words, but speak through a whole culture, express a unique part of myself. I have taken this culture back to Portland. I've been doing Likeringen, which are traditional Scandinavian dances, essentially since I've been able to walk. It's this art form that has allowed me to bridge the gap between the US and Norway. And it's a beautiful art form full of life and joy, the joy of belonging, and belonging to a community and culture so rich, unique, and fulfilling. So when I read these words in Norwegian, stumble through each sentence, I feel rooted to this country thousands of miles away. I understand why I keep going back and why it is such a big part of me. Norway means so much to me because it is a place of immense history and personal history. The country itself has watched me grow into a young woman, and I have watched it fluctuate and grow and develop. It's an eternal friendship that I have with this country and a deep love for the person it has made me. Tusen takk.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed hearing from these amazing young leaders in our 2021 official Oregon Lucia Court. The crowning will happen on December 4th and streamed online. See you later.